Pokemon Winds and Waves leaks are pretty crazy, and in 2026 we're finally gonna get our hands on this game. And let me tell you, there's a lot of leaks that point towards an amazing masterpiece. Now if you take a look at this right here, we have part of the map. Now of course this isn't the finished product, but this is a little sneak peek of what the map could look like. Now this is taken from the game in development, so you just got to keep that in mind. It looks like we got a little swimming pool, a couple little houses, and a giant tree, and probably a runway to land on the plane, because that's probably what the start of the game is going to be. You come from a completely separate island, you want to go here to research Pokemon, catch them, whatever, so you land your plane on this runway, and there you go. So overall, this is very, very interesting. Now, if you take a look at this right here, there's going to be a massive leak, a massive breach of information on Christmas Day. So overall, that is very, very exciting. We can actually see the animal that is going to be the starter Pokemon. Now, one starter Pokemon, we're going to be able to see that animal for it because every single Pokemon are based off of different animal. Like if you look at Charmander, of course, he's like a dragon. If you look at something like Squirtle, that is a turtle. So overall, this is very, very exciting to finally get some more information on Pokemon Generation 10. Now, there's one thing that I wanted to quickly mention. So we aren't going to be getting the leaks nearly as much anymore, or should we say data mines. Now, this is a little bit saddening. Because of the Nintendo Switch 2 security, it's going to be a very, very hard time to get yourself your data mine and what you wanted from Pokemon. Like data mine, what I mean by that is you'll be able to tell the shiny odds, and you were able to tell how to catch certain Pokemon and what are the odds of catching certain Pokemon and where can you find them and all of those things. This will no longer be possible for at least a couple of years because the Nintendo Switch 2 is pretty much unhackable, and to get all of this data mine and stuff, you had to use a modded Nintendo Switch, and since Pokemon isn't going to be releasing on Nintendo Switch as of yet, it's pretty much confirmed that we aren't going to be seeing any more data mines until the Nintendo Switch 2 is hackable. So if you were someone that was really into the numbers, wanted to know how much this is, how much shiny odds I can do from a sandwich, or whatever the case may be, yeah, bad news for you. You won't be able to get any of that until you test it yourself. Probably the shiny odds for these games are going to stay 1 in 4,096, but who knows, maybe they can go back to 1 in 8,000, 1 in 12,000. We won't even know if a Pokemon is shiny locked anymore, so this is a little bit disappointing. Now, if you look at something like this, there is a sketch about what the map is actually going to look like. Now, this is really, really interesting because one of the major leaks was there's going to be a volcano in the middle of the island, and every other island is going to be surrounded by that. Now, my theory on what this volcano actually means is it's kind of like Area Zero. So once you complete enough of the game, or may that be all of the gyms, you will have access to this grand volcano. It might not even be a volcano with lava, it might be just a volcano with crystallized matter that you can't access until you do a bunch of different things and you get your team stronger. But how the story will go, so, of course, you got your volcano that's just in the middle of the map. It doesn't do much. You're from a completely separate world. Let's just say you're from Canada. You take a plane all the way to these islands, and you're a researcher, and you want to catch Pokemon. So, you catch Pokemon, you do the gym battles, and you have a great time with that. Because, you know, every single Pokemon game has some sort of story at some point, and this might just be the story. Just might be. So once your plane has landed, your goal is to become the greatest Pokemon trainer of all time. This might be a little bit like the beginning of Oris, or maybe even the beginning of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. May you like that beginning or not, but it looks like, just maybe, we're finally going to scratch the tutorial, get rid of that, chuck it out the window, and finally allow you to experience the game how you want to. Because one of the big gimmicks to me in Pokemon is this tutorial. You really gotta sit there through the tutorial, clicking one button for at least an hour, and it's a little bit disappointing. But in this island adventure, you could have the potential option to say, okay, I have already became a Pokemon master or something like that, and then it will allow you to skip the tutorial because this is really great and it saves you a bunch of time into jumping into your new Pokemon adventure. So I don't know if you find any of that interesting or helpful, but hey. But now, if you were looking at this picture once again, what do all these islands mean? Now we know that the game is going to be placed in Southern Asia, which is the group of islands originally was supposed to be the Cyclades, but since this is moved to Asia, what is exactly going to happen? Well, we are going to be seeing islands with different types, so every single island is going to have a new typing like ice, water, whatever it is. It looks pretty great. You'll also be able to fly above the sky. You'll be able to take a Pokemon and fly with your surfboard or your skateboard. But it's kind of like a hoverboard, so overall you're kind of trailing behind the Pokemon, so if this Pokemon can fly, well then your skateboard will start to hover and fly. Anyways, you used to be able to jump on the back of one of those Pokemons, but they decided to scrap that because it was too hard to implement into the game. Now we gotta remember that this right here is the biggest media franchise in the world, but hey, you know, we're not complaining. Skateboard's cool too, right? And this will also affect you when you go underwater. Your skateboard will turn into some sort of bubble skateboard so you don't drown when you go underwater. Some gyms will actually be placed underwater. It's kind of like the city of Arceus. Am I saying that right? Nope, it's the city of Atlantis. That's the one. The city of Atlantis is kind of going to be in this game. It might be a secret area, or it might be where you find a legendary Pokemon like Lugia. Now this would be really, really great. And this is really just my thoughts on how I think about all of this right now. I think the game is going to be great. It's Pokemon and it has returned. And now that there's no more Nintendo Switch 1, you can say this is a good thing or a bad thing. Now, the good side of it is that you could potentially push out better graphics. Maybe that's why they just couldn't figure out how to do better graphics, because they were limited on what they could do on the Switch 1, which is kind of no excuse, because if you look at the games like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, those games look amazing. Xenoblade Chronicles, like honestly, they all look amazing, but Pokemon kind of fell short. So maybe it's the Switch 2 is somehow going to change all that. Maybe we can get the gimmicks like the mouse controls or whatever the case may be, then going through your boxes might be a little bit easier. The bad thing, of course, is data mines. You will no longer be able to get your shiny info, your catch info, your catch rate, how you get certain Pokemon, what exactly happens when you do this. Overall, it's a little bit disappointing, but I think it's going to be great. Christmas Day is not only a fun time for family and friends, and of course, Mr. Santa Claus, but it's also a great time for Pokemon League. So get ready for some amazing Pokemon news. It's going to be great out there. Pokemon Winds and Waves is looking like it's going to be a masterpiece. Like honestly, I'm saying it right now that this might actually be the greatest Pokemon game that I've ever played. I know it's hard to say. Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver is probably where that line is drawn for now, but maybe this is finally going to shape that. I honestly wish you were able to ride on the back of the Pokemon, but hey, once again, skateboard, hoverboard, snowboard, whatever you want to call it, is kind of cool as well. So what do you think about all of this? Do you think you will be able to buy your own house and live inside of Pokemon Universe because you came from Canada, you took a plane and you went on your merry way, or do you think this is going to be completely separate? Let me know in the comments section down below, and thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope you're just as excited as I am for all the upcoming Pokemon news, and of course, Christmas. We're less than, I would say, 9 days away, 8 days away from Christmas. So Merry Christmas to you too, and have a great one. With that being said, you know, this would be make the greatest Christmas come true. Hit that like button, maybe that subscribe button. We do a bunch of different Nintendo content on this channel. Pokemon, Zelda, Mario, Kirby, pretty much anything Nintendo. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you in the next one.